We have internal service, and I had mentioned purchasing as one of these. We also have personnel, fleet maintenance. This is to take care of our fleet of vehicles that we use in the city. Facility maintenance takes care of our structures within the city. MIS is a computer department. Management Information Systems. I just know they're the computer people. And when I have problems, I go over and tell them what my problem is. And purchasing. We spend a lot of money in the city. The combined budgets of the city, the expenditures are about $60 million. 73 million. This is Leanne Nichols over here prompting me and making sure I get the information right. She's our finance director. So we're churning through approximately $73 million a year, and we want to assure the taxpayers we're using that money properly, and we're spending it properly, we're bidding out, we're getting the best deal we can for their tax dollars. The city has to have a balanced budget. Remember that last column that I showed you on that page? That cannot be in the red, not allowed. And so we can't get a budget approved, and I will not present a budget to the City Commission that's not a balanced budget. That is one of my tasks. So let's go back and see where we started here. And remember, we started in November of '07 to work on the budget that was going to start in July 1 of '08. So we've got 3 months of experience. It's 9 months that even starts, and it's 9 plus 12, 21 months until it ends. So we're doing a lot of projections here. We knew from the '08 what we're projecting as the ending year balance. We knew, again, what our estimated revenue was. On the other sheet, we showed this as a net. Here we show the amount coming in and the amount going out. We showed the estimated expenditures for '09, and then we showed a little problem here, because that ain't balanced. That's $1.4 million in the hole. Now, to make this a little worse, the DFA says on the general fund of the city, you've got to keep 1 month of reserve. Some people might call it a rainy day fund or emergency fund, just for those exact things. And so we've got to keep 1 month of budget expenditures here. And so if you take this number and you divide it by 12, that's another $966,000. If you add this and this, we were close to $2,400,000 in the red. It's not acceptable. It's not allowed. So that was our first run. Go back, please. That was our first run at the '09 budget. When we looked at it, we said, okay, here's what we think is going to happen in the current year. This is what we think we're going to have to start off the new year. These are the number of people that we employ in the city. This is what our labor contracts say is going to happen with the wages and benefits in the next year with those people. This is, we know we've got electric bills that we have to pay that aren't going to go away. We know we have insurance bills that we have to pay that aren't going to go away. We know we're going to have to pay gas, just like you. Just like every one of you and I, we have all these expenses in our budget that we are going to have to pay. And a lot of those expenses grow each year. The cost of gasoline goes up. There's an increased cost, and therefore this goes up because of that. So this was unacceptable. When you're facing a situation like this, there's a lot of things, a lot of ways to try and approach this. As I mentioned, we're an A to Z city. We provide a lot of services and a lot of different types of services. All those services are serving the people of the community, and every one of them wants those services to continue typically everyone feels that their service is of most importance to the community and certainly should not be reduced or diminished, and typically they feel it should be expanded and enhanced. One of the ways you can address a problem like this is you just say, okay, everybody's got to cut their budget by 30%. Well, that just can't work, really. I mean, there's departments where you just couldn't function with that type of a reduction. What we have in our community, and many of them are here today, we have many of our directors in attendance here also this evening. And so what we do is we expect all of our directors to know what's going on in their department and what their expenses are, how they're being used. And so our direction at this point is we need to find a way that we can try to continue providing the same level of services to the community and at the same time get this number into the black. Now, it's not only this number that needs to be reduced, it's also this number. It's those two together, because much of this is going to other operating departments. Remember I mentioned to you the recreation department, the parks, the community service. They're not in the general fund. This is money that's being sent to where they're at to pay for their operations. And so we sat down with all of our directors and we said, we need to get this in the black. We need you to go back. We need you to look at ways that we can reduce our expenditures. That's only one part of the picture. We need to look and see if we're making accurate projections on our estimated revenues for next year. This $2.4 million off of 17 million is over a 10% reduction. So we also posed the question to them, let's see what we can do here. And the way we can affect this number is we can look at what's going on in the current fiscal year. And if we can find ways to reduce expenditures in the current fiscal year, then we can spread this impact over 2 fiscal years and have less impact on the public. That was the mission. That was the task that was sent out with all the directors. We want you to go out. We want you to minimize the impact on the public. We want you to look at how we can make reductions in the current year, which at that point was 3 months over already. And we want you to look at how we can do reductions in the next year's budget. And we did. Next. This is the result. After we went back, you'll notice this number is larger. That's because of reductions in the current fiscal year. This number we re-estimated, re-examined all of our revenue sources in the general fund and refined those, and we said we think this is reasonable. Transfers in, I don't believe changed. Transfers out have declined significantly. It's because other operating departments and other funds reduced their cost. This is reduced. Same reason, we reduced expenses. The effect was that we got into the black here, $976,000. Remember that little rainy day fund I mentioned? The 1/12 required reserve? It's 1/12 of this. There it is. So we got it there. At this point, we have achieved a estimated 09 budget that's balanced, not only in this fund, but throughout the entire city.